I just want to touch on one thing that I noticed on your website. You guys are launching a virtual training academy within the next year. I think that's a really great concept and the idea behind it. I'd love to get a little more information. Like, what's your vision for online training for athletes?
Shoot, man, that's news to me. No, I'm joking.
I can kind of answer that.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
So, understanding that we feel like, yes, we are kind of locally business in the DMV. We also understand that, with social media, the internet, we can actually tap into other basketball players and markets all across the world. And so with that being said, one of the things that we've learned from just other successful trainers and athletes and stuff like that, they record a lot of things. And so getting to the point where you're creating kind of an itinerary or inventory of just things that we're working on. And like Marshall said, we want to be able to, one of the challenges is marketing ourselves and things of that nature. And so having kind of our own virtual academy that we're looking to kind of launch down the road is something I feel like can help not only basketball players in the DMV, but also across the globe. And they'll able to not only just see our basketball company not just as a basketball training company, but as a brand and a culture. And so that's kind of the ultimate goal we're trying to accomplish, within the next few years.
Yeah, and our focus is always how can we make the biggest impact, right? Obviously, there's business reasons why we should do it. For example, if there's another pandemic, how are we going to make money, right? So that's one way. How are we going to make money, and how are we going to help other people who need us? So that's one thing. The other thing is these people that we train, like it's particularly the ones that we do private training with, but even the group training ones, they're only with us one time a week. And I got to be that. I'm the guy who says the things that's true, but people usually don't say because it sounds mean. But the reality is, a lot of these people who work with us, their parents, usually the dad, undoes what we just taught them because they're trying to still relive their glory days through them, or trying to teach them things that we didn't teach them, right? So that's the other piece is we can say, all right, dad, I want you to do these 3 or 4 workouts with him or her, in between the week that we don't see each other. Um, and then like you said, Brandon, there's a global impact we can have. I mean, it just makes sense to record what you're doing, and be able to give people instant access to how we're helping other people in person, right? And yeah, it comes down to impact at the end of the day. How can we make the biggest impact? And we all have individual stories and collective stories of our clients and I think this is one key differentiator that I want to highlight is our kids don't just like look good in workouts. Our clients perform better in the game. And not every trainer can say that, right? Not every trainer can say, my kid that I worked with went from not making AAU to making AAU, or a bench to a starter, or a starter to the go-to guy or girl. So having that app will just be able to, exponentially grow that impact.
And then I think last thing I'll add, there's another angle to it that I think we haven't mentioned, but training the trainer, right? We want to be at a point where, we're able to mentor and help develop someone that wants to be in our shoes. And that app could give them, an opportunity to get some ideas with different drills and skills that, we're displaying to the world. But again, like, we want to grow the game, especially in the United States. Marshall and I had this argument months back about the international game catching up to us. And I'm like, man, no way. Like, there's only a few superstars. But as I continue to look and I really understand the landscape of basketball in this country, we're falling behind. So anytime that we can help advocates of the game, whether that's trainers, coaches, players, parents,
Yeah,
we want to do that. So yeah, wanted to add that part in, because I've used other apps, guys like Phil Handy, and it's helped me become a better trainer. So, we have to continue to knowledge share and pass along the right information to help grow our game here.
Now, Marshall, another question I have, just to kind of elaborate on how you said seeing the results in whatever athlete you train in the games and stuff, seeing their stat lines build. What would you guys say is the most rewarding part of being a trainer?
It's seeing someone's confidence grow. We have a lot of kids who are kind of in that intermediate skill level, so they're not beginner, not advanced. So being able to see it click for them, and for me, I'm the type of trainer where I don't want to just tell you what to do. I want to eventually help you get to a point to where you're recognizing, oh, I missed this shot because my feet weren't right. Like, I don't want to have to tell you, because I'm only going to be with you once a week. So when I see them start to self-correct, I'm like, all right, it's starting to click. And I've had a lot of kids who were like me, who had potential but just didn't have confidence. So being able to see their confidence grow, and it affects not only their personality and their lives on the court, but also off the court. So that's the biggest reward for me. I'll pass it to one of the brothers.
Yeah, I'll echo what Marshall said, the confidence piece. But also for me, I think just being able to persevere and know, hey, at this point, I might not be, where I want to be, but as they go through that process and, they're building that sweat equity, and, they can look back and say, look, this is what your shot used to look like, and this is what it looks like now, right? Being able to trust the process. I know that's a probably outdated quote, but it's true, right? Trusting that process, knowing that it's not going to be perfect at the start, and you'll never be perfect, but you'll persevere and progress, and you'll learn those things that Marshall said aren't not only are applicable to basketball, but are applicable to life. So that's the value that I love and see with these kids, and being able to persevere and know, man, I can do this, and I can do this, consistently at a high level.
Last thing I'll add outside of confidence is I feel like being a student of the game is a byproduct of being confident. So I know from our perspective, we're basketball junkies. And the more we've practiced and put in the work, those 10,000 hours, which in turn has built that confidence, that comes back to being a student of the game. And so, having clients that we work with ask questions or just say, hey, or we watch game film and they're asking us questions of certain things. Well, what could I have done in this situation or this set? And just being understanding that growing the game by them becoming a student, that's outside of being confident, is one of the things that brings me joy.